have 1,001 cases to prove that. Therefore, if we need a brand new constitution, it is not the National Assembly that should give it to us, and they cannot give it to us.
But is this an attempt to give us a brand new constitution? It looks like, it's still under the guise of an amendment.
They are trying to amend.
Yes.
They are trying to amend, and we are saying that we need a brand new constitution. And even in amending, you have to amend the right things. Take a look at this. They said they have gone to their constituencies, and the constituent members have, said this, said that. But you could say that to the Marines. The way they did it, that was what one deputy president of the Senate did that time during the last but one regime. The last but one regime went around the whole place, jamboree, said, this is what our constituents have said. Oh, that we should have third term, and it is approved by everybody. When you and I never approved. So all this going round. And that's why we need the Constituent Assembly of this constitution, because the constitution is the form, set, or ego of the Nigerian legal system. It is the ground norm of the Nigerian legal system. You don't joke with that. Amending few sections, fine. But if you want to deal with this constitution drastically, the National Assembly cannot just say, we went round the way they are doing it now, settle in hotels, call one or two people, and then say this one. Did anybody approach you? Are you not in a federal constituency? Did anybody approach you for this? Did anybody approach any person here now?
So ordinarily, yes, they should, if they were to review the constitution.
Yes, normally they should, if they were to review the constitution. And let me say this: when you talk of, because the mischief which this proposal to remove the immunity clause seeks to cure is corruption, which today we know is prevalent, which today we know is systemic, which we know is a cankerworm that has eaten very deep into our own socio-economic psyche. We know this, that's what they have at the back of their minds. But come to think of it, as between the presidency, because only 4 people are involved: president, vice president, governor, deputy governor, just 4. If we are to study the etiology of corruption in this country today, of Nigeria of today, in the military, it was the executive, the head of state that was responsible for rank corruption, the executive. But today, when you study the etiology of corruption, would you say, frankly, that corruption is rife in the executive, more rife in the executive than in the National Assembly? So why are they talking of removing this immunity clause from the president, vice president, governor, when in fact the root of corruption in Nigeria, the big oak tree root of corruption in Nigeria, is in the National Assembly?
So the attempt, yes. Is this not an attempt to begin to cut down that tree of corruption?
No, if you cut this tree of corruption, you must cut it from the root. Don't cut it at the stem. Remove the root, and the root is the National Assembly.
But they're not immune from prosecution, so are they the ones that would begin to prosecute?
If they are not immune from prosecution, they make the laws favoring them and so on, like this. All these amendments they are talking about, they want to do favoring them. We have members of the National Assembly that had gone from the sublime to the ridiculous, who are still there today as lawmakers for us, for you and me. They are still there. We know them. They know if there's anything, they now organize fake committees of the House. They are being judges by themselves. They commit offenses, and then they organize committees, in-house committees, ethics and whatever, to look into the crimes committed by 1 or 2 of their members.
But this is, this is like you're trying to bring this back to the members of National Assembly and say that this is their idea. They are saying, no, it's not our idea.
It is the idea.
We went out to get what the views. Now, let's just assume that yes, for everyone here, we were all asked and we all said, okay, you know what, remove the immunity clause.
Yes.
Assuming they now look at the arguments as members of the House of Representatives and say, but you know, this is not exactly the way we should go when we're looking at it from a different angle.
Yes.
How do they now handle, you know, coming back to us to say, well, we finally looked at it and we don't think that we should go down the route of removing, you know, immunity clause.
Yes.
How do they handle that?
You see, you just said a wonderful thing, you know, because I gave the impression, and I continue to give the impression, that this thing is the handiwork of the National Assembly. Now think about it. How are you sure, you know, even sitting down here now, that yes, this idea of removal of immunity clause represents the opinion of the populace? Now, how did they do that? In the hotels? Where did they do that? There must be popular involvement, by which I mean the people they are supposed to represent must be involved.
Mr. Akiri, they
yes.
had public forums.
Eh?
They had public forums across the country.
Yes.
And these public forums were attended. And they also called for memoranda from different quarters.
Yes.
And they had loads and loads of memoranda.
Yes.
And you said there was no public involved?
The public, not, for example, I ask you sitting down here now, because you see, it's one thing to say, oh, we organize so many fora, and our people, the result is this, the result is that. Such as we had at the beginning of the Fourth Republic, or at the tail end of the Obasanjo regime, when they went round, when you know, Senator Mantu, if you still remember that name, went round and then organized public fora, you know, during which all of us, you know, both as individuals and as a collectivity, you know, told the fora that we wanted third term. You see, it is like that. So you see, that's why we need a constituted assembly, you know, of elected members to look at this. Did I see the various documents, the loads and loads of documents, which they gather from the different fora? Did you see these things? We
saw the submission on television. I mean, there's some of the forums that we covered.
Who read the submissions to you? If not the members of the various committees? Who read the submissions to you? How can we be sure?
So you're questioning the process right now. You're saying it was not transparent enough.
No, it's not transparent, and it cannot be transparent. I mean, the whole thing sounds like we, the people of Nigeria.
Mr. Akiri,
is that not fake?
How should they have gone about
when
this?
you did not know about the drafting of this constitution, you did not know. Nobody knew apart from just a clique, an oligarchic group of people who knew. They now would say, we, the people of Nigeria, as the preamble to the people's constitution. I mean, would you believe that we, the people of Nigeria, you know, drafted this constitution? It is the same thing that we are talking about now.
How should they have gone about this? How should they have gone about this?
How should they have gone about this?
And then, aside, when you say that if they're doing an amendment, how should they have gone about organizing the public fora? And then, if they're supposed to do a review, how would they go about electing those people that are part of the Constituent Assembly?
How do they go about electing them?
Yeah.
No, you see, if they're going to constitute a constituent assembly, all the three arms of government will be involved. And then at the end of the day, you know, we organize elections in all the constituencies in the Federation. Now, all the federal constituencies in the Federation, and people are deliberately chosen, you know, to be members of the Constituent Assembly, like happened in 1978, at the tail end of Obasanjo's regime, the first coming. Now, when a Constituent Assembly was made, people were elected. And that Constituent Assembly, headed, I think, by the late, Rotimi Williams. Chief Obafemi Awolowo was there before he opted out, and so on. Now, they were elected by their various constituencies, and they came together, where we had these 49 wise men to decide what type of constitution Nigeria should have. They were elected, they were representing us. So they had a way of going back to their people, all the representatives had a way of going back to their people that this is what they are saying. Should we not? Should we not? And then they go back to the assembly to say, this is what our people are saying. Then they have a consensus.
That
is how to go about this.
Are the members of the National Assembly, in the House of Representatives, are they not elected by their constituencies?
No, look, it is not like that. I just told you that what they are doing, it's too radical. It's too radical. It is like saying, Nigeria is no longer a federation. It's like saying Nigeria is no longer a federation. Like the, what is the name? This local government affair. I don't know whether you're talking about it.
Yeah.
This local government affair. It's like saying Nigeria is no longer a federation.
By asking INEC to conduct...
Correct! So it's like saying Nigeria is no longer a federation. That is too drastic. You change the constitution like that, you know, that Nigeria is no longer a federation, and the National Assembly thinks it can do that inside on the floor of the National Assembly.
So that's what this means.
Yeah, this is what this means. So it's too drastic something, and it is not something to be toyed with. You need popular involvement in this matter, not just then we organize fora, and our people are saying, and then you come to the television to read out what the people are saying. Who are the people saying it? We should not be taken for a ride.
If I may continue on that line of the local government, that asking INEC to organize the elections into the local government councils.
Yes.
Put it side by side with the autonomy that they are recommending be granted the local government authorities.
Yes.
Wouldn't that help?
You see, it can never help, because you see, I am dead opposed to autonomy for local government, and I'm dead opposed to the suggestion that INEC should now organize elections for local government. It is too bad. It's too sour in the mouth to swallow.
Why?
Why? Because Nigeria, for crying out loud, is a federation. And you see, the 1960, and that's independence, and the 1963, that's Republican constitutions, are contractual documents. You see, the North, for example, refused. Ahmadu Bello refused that the North should become part of the Federation of Nigeria unless and until Nigeria should be federal, truly federal. If it was not federal and the states were autonomous, almost autonomous in their rights, it would not join Nigeria. You see, and so it was decided Nigeria should become a truly federal country with a centrifugal center, not centripetal center like we have today.
No, but some people say that right now.
Now, so that was the position at that time. Now, so we got into independence. Every state has its own coat of arms. Every state has its own constitution, has its own judiciary, court system. Even the West has its own court of appeal, and so on and so forth. That was it. So the military came and turned it around. So what we have today is a relic of our sordid military past.
Let me read to you what the Deputy Speaker said about this with respect to the local government.
Yes.
He said, quote, "As a matter of fact, local government autonomy may be decidedly against federalist principles.
Correct.
But Nigerians have chosen the type of federalism they want, guided by their experience.
Who did?
For Nigerians
the military did? I'm happy you read it out. That's beautiful.
He's saying with respect to the kind of amendment and the way and manner with which they went about it.
Yes.
That's what Nigerians want.
No, you see, that's not what Nigerians want. The creation of local government, which took place during the military regime in the first place, was a design to whittle down, the principle of federalism in Nigeria. That was the design. Now Nigeria should be just a country, a states, weak federating units that could be controlled by the federal government. So that's why today there is hardly any development at the state level anywhere, because at the end of every month, or every state goes to the center, goes to Abuja, cap in hand, asking for the dole under the provisions of Section 162 of the Constitution, where you have the federation account. No state wants to work. You just go there, and so we start a weak thing. And then when you say that the state should be, the local government should be autonomous, you want to abolish the joint state local government account. You are weakening the federal system. You are empowering local government councils against the state governments where they are, thereby, creating a situation, that I call a state within a state in each of the states. And it was the kind of thing that happened in the 16th century French Republic. What led up to the 1897 revolution in France, when states were created within states. Now we have 36 federative units in this country today. If you now give autonomy to local government councils by, say, removing, and you also remove you abolish the joint state local government council account. If you do that, then we'll have about over 800 federative units.
Wow. Well, Mr. Akiri,
and that will be done. Then we don't have a country anymore.
Wow.
Or what name would you give to that country? Unitary or federal?
As you rightly predicted, time didn't let us even go beyond where we are now. And that's all the time we have. We thank you very much indeed for coming on today.
The pleasure is my own.